Advanced custom fields. It's a great plugin for using custom fields in WordPress. The free version works just fine. However, often you're limited to your output, and because of the theme or something else, you are destined to use shortcodes for ACF. So there's one limitation for shortcodes, and that is using shortcodes is easy. You just, for example, if you're using Gutenberg or a page builder, you just input this shortcode somewhere into your design and it will output the value. However, the limitation is it only works for simple text-based values. So what if you have a range of values with checkboxes, and you tick 2 checkboxes and you want to display those 2 values? You cannot do that with this limitation. And I'm going to show you how you can create an easy plugin that will have your own custom shortcode for ACF and enable you to output those values. Coming up. Hi, my name is Mr. Gecko, and this channel is all about WordPress, Gutenberg, and the whole design process. So recently, I've shown you one of my clients' websites where I was displaying ACF multiple choice values in my front end, and you cannot do that with just their own simple shortcode. You have to create your own custom plugin for that. So let's dive into it. So this is how ACF shortcode works. You input the field name and then it will output the simple text-based value of that field. However, the limit is you can only use it for the simple text-based values. So if we go to ACF, to custom fields, so here we have, for example, project properties. This is the custom field group that I'm using. It's composed of taxonomies and text-based values. So text-based values are fine, like architect, year of production, and so on. But the problem are these taxonomies, where I actually have multiple values, multiple choice values, and they can get selected. For example, this type of work is a taxonomy, and the appearance is a checkbox, and it displays it as term object. So if we go here, this is my client's website, and it's done in the Kadence theme. It's a theme for Gutenberg. It can work with Elementor as well, but I mainly use it for Gutenberg. I like Gutenberg. It's very fast. It's the future of WordPress. If you want to look at that video, how I did the whole design of this website and the features of it, you can have it in the card up there. I'll link it up there. So here we have projects. This is custom post type projects, and within these projects we have single project layouts. This is one of them. And this is how it looks like. I did this part, and this part was interesting to a lot of you that follow me. And this is done with hooked elements, where I put my advanced custom field shortcodes. Let me actually show you that. We go to Appearance, Kadence, and Elements. Let's open the new tab. So here, project details. If we edit this one, I'll edit in English version so you can understand what it means. So here we have the project details design. And as you can see, here I have my custom fields. So ACF field, year of production, is actually this. It's this shortcode, the normal shortcode. But I have some other shortcodes where I am. These ones are called not ACF, they're called ACF custom, and then the name of the field. So this is something that I've created just for this client. And I actually use this code whenever I need to fetch multiple choice values from ACF fields. because multiple choice is just something that you normally use. It's similar for drop downs and all these multiple selections, you know. So if we go to my plugins, here I have a custom plugin, advanced custom field shortcode. This is something that I've created, and let me close this. So when you go to plugin editor, you can actually select that one, and we can see the code here. So I want to go, we can approach this in many ways, but I want to keep things simple for you. If you're watching this video, the chances are you don't know much about coding. You just want me to give you this code so you can use it, and that's it. But the problem is, this is a custom code tailored for my client, so you need to understand what I'm doing with it. So we will break down several parts in an easy way. I won't go into specifics of the code, but we will break down each section in a simple way, so you can know what each part does and how you can actually simply modify some of these things to your liking. I have actually one a little more complex thing that I'm doing with this shortcode, and let me show you that. For example, here in this project details, if we go to the backend, I have the project properties field group, and then all these fields in here, where my client just ticks these boxes, inputs these fields, and that's it. It's easy for these fields, like year of production, you input text value, you output text value with this normal shortcode, and that's it. But the problem is this one, types of works. So we have 3 outputs here, and what happened here is this is where it's at. Type of work, here my client selects 3 checkboxes, and what actually is being done here, ACF sees this as an object, and that object is actually an array, and actually the array is containing each one of these checkbox values. So normal shortcode will not output that. It will output maybe just the name of the array or something like that. It doesn't actually fetch these values. It doesn't know what to fetch because it's a very simple shortcode. So what I did also is, here's where things gets more complicated. Here I have another type of glass, and with this one in the backend, as you can see, again, multiple choice values. But as you can see, I have 1, 2, and 3 selected. But in the front end, this one, RG color, actually has this RAL, we call it RAL in my language, RAL, whatever you want to call it. It's color code. People in construction use that for different purposes, and it's widely used in the world. So standardized color codes, pardon. So it outputs also this name and the color code. But where is that located in the backend? In the backend, it's located below that. I actually have a custom field, text-based field. If we look at, we don't have to look at it. If we look at this value here, this value is optional. It's optional. So how do I fetch actually that value and input it here with RG color with my array of values and put it in the single line, like inline with that value? So this is actually what my plugin does. And here we will dive into it a little bit. So the plugin is composed of the beginning part. These are some values for you to have them displayed here and stuff like that. So it's just description of the plugin. Then you have one function, and that function has beginning and end. So all this code is inside that one function. It's called ACF custom shortcode. You can name this function however you'd like. I name it somehow that I know what it does. So at the end, you have add shortcode filter. WordPress actually has these things like filters where you define value for shortcode. So this is add shortcodes filter, where I'm adding my custom shortcode into other shortcodes list. So when I use shortcode and my shortcode name is ACF custom, here, the thing that we did, if it's named ACF custom, the filter is saying if we have that one, for that one, run this function. And instead of normal ACF function for shortcode for text-based values, if I input ACF custom as my shortcode name, then it will actually run this function. So let's go into it, what this function does. So in the beginning, I won't cover this this thing much. It's actually, the function is having an input argument. We call it @s here, and we're giving it a name. So whatever my function is fetching, that's an object, and it's called @s from now on in the code. And it actually uses the extract and extracts the values and, you know, all sorts of things. And then it gets values from the field. So we have field, post ID, and format values. So it actually stores that in my variable called terms. And then this is the interesting part. So if the value is an array, it gets the names from the list of objects. So I have an if function, and inside I have isArray. It's checking my variable. Is it an array? So if it is an array indeed, then it will do something with it. If it's not an array, so this is if function, it starts here. All this code is inside it if function. If it's not an array, this whole code will be skipped and it goes to else if. What if it's not? If it's not, then else if it's actually a variable that exists, then it does some other stuff. So what I'm actually doing here, we will not cover each one of these. So you have to know a little bit little things about coding, so that you actually know this. But let me explain further. So I'm using for each loop. So I'm looping through my terms as term. So this is something very famous in coding. But to explain you in simple manner, with this loop, I'm actually looping through my terms, through my variable, which is an array now. I'm looping through all its values in that array, and if the each value has its own field name, post ID, and format value. So each value in that array. So I'm looping through each one of them in that array. So for each one of them, I'm having an if function. And I'm saying, if one of those field names is called, here we say it's the stakla, this type of glass. So here, type of glass. If it's this one, then execute different thing here. So if it's this one, then we go further in the code. Then we check even further. If my term value and I fetch name from it is equal to RG color. So this actually means we're going into this value, and now the value has names of these names of the each value in the check for each checkbox. There's this name of the checkbox. So I'm looping through that for each one of them. I'm going into this, and if the name of this checkbox value is RG color, so if the name is RG color, then Then we name another variable and get field, and I call this actually ral. So this field here is called ral. So if I'm fetching this field, and now I'm actually, if it exists, of course, I'm actually doing a little bit of HTML here. So I'm actually styling my ACF custom paragraph. I'm putting it inline, and I'm using that term name. So I'm actually using the value RG color, and then I'm putting this ral and then the ral value. So what's this code is actually doing is using this field, and next to it putting ral and putting this. So it's actually taking this, then putting this, and then putting this number from the other text field. So yeah, this is a little bit where things got complex, but if you're not having this, you can just skip this code. You don't have to do this if function at all. If you don't want to, there's nothing to do there. But if it's not RG color, then I'm using else statement. So if statement is doing this. If there's no ral value, if nothing is input in this field, if there's no number, sometimes they want to just say RG color, but no color code specified. So for that one, I just go, if it doesn't exist, else, just put me the term name without this ral and the extension for the code. So if it's not this field type of class, if it's not that field, I'll just do else statement where I use an array and input into my new array. This is my other variable that this is indicating that it's an array, and I'm fetching names of these values. So what I'm doing here is actually I'm going through this one field, and it's a multiple choice field, and it has these field names, and I'm going through all of them and actually putting each one that's checked into my new variable and sorting it in an array. And then I'm going to take that array, this array, and the problem with that array is now it's also an array of values, and I need to style it a little bit. So first element in the array is array value, which we don't need, so we remove it. So these things in the code have some different things in it. So I'm actually slicing my array, doing a little bit this and that, imploding, and so on and so on. And what I'm actually doing is stripping everything around it, just keeping that value. And BR is a new line. This is actually something that I use to actually output everything in new line. So all these, if you output an array, all of those will be in line one after another. So what I'm doing is fetching each one of them and adding a new line next to them so that they output like this in new line, nicely, beautifully looking. I know maybe I overcomplicated, but I don't know how to explain to you simpler than this. So this at the end says that if we are not doing all this hassle, if it's not an array, so this is all if it's an array. Where is? So this is if it's an array. If it's not an array, if the value is not an array, it gets the name of from the object. So this part is actually saying, well, if it's not an array, then just fetch the value and that's it. So that's my shortcode. This is the code. You can modify it. I'll put it in the description below in a link. So feel free to use it, feel free to modify it. I have to put a disclaimer. I actually found multiple people giving out different codes online. So this is not created from the scratch. I actually used some of the code that I found online. It was many years ago. I don't even remember from where I got it. But then I modified all of this to my liking. Most of this code is actually my code, but some of the logic I fetched from somewhere else. So yeah, this is what it is. This is where it's at. And if you want to use this, please use it with caution. It's gonna be a trial and error. It won't work from the first time. You have to probably modify it to your own needs. But it's amazing that something like this can work, and it's just one sheet of code. It's a simple plugin. You don't have to think about plugins. Oh, I'm adding another plugin. This is just a simple code that just runs if you actually put that shortcode. It checks it out and it runs this function. This function is in the backend. It won't run at all if you don't use this code. So you're not bloating up your website. It's just people don't know how plugins work overall. So yeah, if you like this content, please share it, give it to someone who might benefit from it, and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. So I'm gonna see you in the next one, and in my upcoming videos, people have requested as well for me to dive deep into my filtering system. Let me show you real quick what I mean. So when we go to projects, there's this filtering system. I'll be covering soon this one, how I actually use the plugin that does this advanced filtering for my archives. And this is a custom post type archive. And I'm using Kadence theme and how all that works together. So stay tuned and see you in the next one.